Delta Airlines is paging recall Newsom. Please meet your party at concourse gate 25. Delta Airlines is paging.
It's happening. It's really happening. Californians are rising up and pushing back against their permanent political class by recalling Gavin Newsom. In this video, we're going to look at why Newsom and California's left-wing liberals are absolutely panicked. We're going to see the utterly absurd lengths that the mainstream media is willing to go to try to destroy Larry Elder. And stick with me to the very end of this video when I'll reveal what's really behind this surge in support. A surge that may indeed turn one of the bluest states in the nation red right before our very eyes. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve with you. Great to be with you as always. I am your daily fake news antidote, offering patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we jump into things here, you know, things aren't just heating up with this California recall, they're heating up outside. How's that for a pivot? And that's why I'm so glad I've got an amazing device that's here to keep me personally cool. It's called the Arctic Breeze 3-in-1 air cooler. It's a mini air conditioner unit, small and compact enough to put right on your desk. Got 3 different wind speeds and USB connectivity, so it can be powered by multiple devices. And if you click on that link below right now, for a limited time, they're offering this little gem at 50% off plus free shipping to boot. That's right, half off and free shipping. So don't wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on that link below or go to easysummercool.com and order your personal portable AC unit today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Now, if you're a regular to this channel, if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. But if you've been with us for a while, you know that we have been following for some time now the recall effort against perhaps the single most failed governor in the entire nation, and that is California Governor Gavin Newsom. Actually, it was just over a year ago when I first started making you aware of a number of recall efforts across the nation, but it was this one in California that clearly seemed to have legs. Again, a lot of pundits back then dismissed it. It's just wishful thinking. But alas, to everyone's shock, back in April, it happened. The organized effort to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom received the necessary number of verified signatures to trigger a recall election. The California Secretary of State officially announced that the threshold of 1.5 million verified signatures had indeed been met, and that a recall election would be scheduled to put the future of Newsom on a ballot. But then again, we were told by our expert pundit class not to worry, because all the polls show that the vast majority of Californians want nothing to do with this. It's just a right-wing conspiracy, a Trump-led insurrection that's trying to disrupt the placid and Edenic state of California politics. And then, as the weeks trickled on, the pundit class suddenly started to get noticeably nervous, very nervous. They began to see signs of a growing rebellion among Californians, most particularly among Latinos. Polls were finding that Latinos in California were more likely to vote to recall Newsom than white, Asian, and black voters. 45% of Latino voters were planning on voting to remove Newsom, while only 41% said they would vote no to that. And so pundits recognize that while the polls show Newsom ahead in the recall vote, they realize that could all change with this noticeable shift towards favoring recall among Latino voters. And then something happened no one expected. Conservative radio talk show host Larry Elder announced that he was entering the race for California governor. And again, I did a video on that announcement, and I asked, can Larry Elder turn California red? And the answer was an emphatic, yes, he can. And it's so interesting because shortly after Elder announced his candidacy, we began to see this wave of enthusiasm just rise among California's Republicans and even their independents. And as a result, here we are, 3 weeks away from the recall, and the California permanent political class, led by gruesome Newsom, they are all absolutely panicked. They are out and out panicking that this recall effort may indeed succeed. The polls as we speak are all shifting in the direction of supporting the recall. Right now, the aggregate average for those who support the recall is 48%, while the average of those who plan to vote no on the recall is 47.5%, a statistical tie. But this is light years away from where we were just 3 months ago when the no's dominated every poll. And so now the mainstream Marxist media has, along with Newsom, begun to panic. They're collectively recognizing that Newsom is in very real danger of losing this thing. And not just that, it's not just a matter of Newsom losing, but they're utterly horrified by the notion that Larry Elder is poised to win. And so now the mainstream Marxist media is kicked into high gear. They're absolutely scrambling for their propaganda to try to vilify Larry Elder in any way that they possibly can to try to scare and shock and terrify their fellow Californians into voting for Gavin Newsom. Now, of course, there's nothing specific to Newsom that they could point to for why you should vote for him. He's an abject failure of a governor. California's local newspapers could tell you that. According to the U.S. Census, every single year, an average number of 100,000 Californians leave the state as over and against those who move in. And as many of you know, California, for the first time ever, has actually lost a House seat due to its rampant depopulation. This is, at least in part, Governor Newsom's legacy. He's a failed governor. And what do you do when you try to defend the indefensible? Well, you try to fabricate fear and loathing of his opponent. Just take a look at the absurd lengths that the left-wing activists disguised as journalists at the Los Angeles Times went to try to defame Larry Elder. Now, I promise you, what you're about to see is not from the Babylon Bee. This is not satire. This is a real headline. Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. You've been warned. This is what actually passes as journalism at the LA Times. According to the twisted world of these Marxist radicals who were so in love with this failed governor, according to them, Larry Elder, who's black and grew up in a South Central LA neighborhood that was 80% black, yes, that Larry Elder, according to these rabid leftists at the LA Times, he is a white supremacist. Now, if this patent absurdity doesn't disqualify our permanent political class from their positions of privilege, which of course they never voluntarily give up, if this does not completely ban them from being taken even remotely seriously, nothing will. But whether they realize it or not, it is precisely this pathetic pablum that has at least in part inspired this recall. You see, this isn't a recall merely of an incompetent governor. In many respects, this is a recall in a symbolic sense, no doubt, but it's a recall of California's permanent political class. There aren't enough Republicans in California to make this recall happen. This is a recall that clearly transcends partisanship. And it appears to be transcending as well these banal efforts by the political class to defend that partisan stranglehold in California. How else do you explain one of California's highest ranking Democrats publicly endorsing Larry Elder? How else do you explain California models and Instagram influencers urging their manifold followers to vote to recall Newsom? Take a look at this.
Recall Gavin Newsom. The voting has started. If you live in the state of California, let's please get this guy out of office. He has done so much damage to our state, and there isn't a point of return right now. So the best thing to do is vote. I don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican. Let's just get this guy out and get our state back to where it needs to.
Don't vote no to keep somebody in power that has literally trashed the state, because we need to show them that this is not about Democrat versus Republican. Okay, and just like we're here recalling this governor to get out, we can recall any governor to get out if we work together.
These aren't ideologues, gang. These girls aren't partisans. They're citizens. And what we're seeing in California is precisely what we're seeing rising up all over the world. We're seeing nothing less than a populist backlash against their respective permanent political classes. The growing divide, the new political animosity that we're seeing rising up here in California, as well as the nation as a whole, is not between Republicans versus Democrats or conservative versus liberals or even left versus right per se. But increasingly it's between the people versus the permanent political class, the ruled versus the rulers, the ordinary citizen versus the oligarch. This is the politics of the 21st century. And the mainstream Marxist media has yet to come to terms with this. This is what we're seeing in California. And it may indeed be big enough and strong enough to withstand whatever shenanigans the permanent political class is going to try to pull at California's polls in 3 weeks. And if it is, then just 3 weeks from now, we're going to see one of the bluest of the blue states turn red right before our very eyes. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on whether Taiwan is next. With the fall of Kabul and Biden's Afghanistan disaster, could we be seeing the opening needed for China to annex Taiwan? You're not going to want to miss this, so make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.